Hello dear children, in today's video we are going to see about the factors influencing atmospheric pressure and the pressure belts of the world under the chapter atmospheric pressure and winds. Let's get started. What is meant by the atmospheric pressure? We already saw in the previous video that it is the second major element influencing weather and climate. So the pressure, it is defined as the force per unit area. So this atmospheric pressure, it's simply the weight of the atmosphere per unit area. It is the force exerted by the air on the surface of the earth. So the atmospheric pressure, it is measured in millibars, and the instrument which is used to measure the air pressure, it is called as the barometer. Now we'll see about the factors influencing the atmospheric pressure. There are three main factors. One is the altitude, the air temperature and the moisture content. The altitude, with increase in height, the air pressure decreases. This is happening because the atmosphere, it is becoming less dense in the upper atmospheric layers. So that is the reason the air pressure decreases. Next comes the air temperature. It is also affected by the temperature of the atmosphere. So the cold air, it exerts greater pressure, okay, as it is heavier. So the cold air is heavier and it exerts greater pressure. The last one is the moisture. The air with moisture, it is lighter and therefore exerts less pressure than the dry air. So these are all the factors which is influencing the atmospheric pressure. Now we'll move on to the pressure belts. Last year, you children learnt about the temperature zones of the earth, or the heat zones of the earth, or the thermal belts of the earth. Based on the amount of solar energy received, each hemisphere is divided into three temperature or the heat zones. That is the torrid zone, the temperate zone and the frigid zone. Just like these thermal belts, we also have four distinct pressure belts that encircle the earth. So these pressure belts are created by two factors. One is the temperature, the other one is the rotation of the earth. These pressure belts, they follow the apparent movement of the sun. So we need to know what is that apparent movement of the sun. We already know the axis of the earth is inclined at an angle of 23.5 degrees. Now you can see the vertical rays of the sun, where it is falling exactly in the vertical rays of the sun is received in the northern hemisphere. See, the equator is here, Tropic of Cancer. Okay. In this image, if you see, the vertical rays of the sun are falling on the southern hemisphere, the equator, the Tropic of Capricorn. These pressure belts, it follows the apparent movement of the sun. That is basically the amount of solar energy which latitude is receiving, which area is receiving. Based on this only, the pressure belts also, it follows. There are four major permanent pressure belts of the world. They are the equatorial low pressure belt, or the ITCZ. Okay, it is from 0 degree to 5 degree north and 0 degree to 5 degrees south. That is from the equator. The next one is the subtropical high pressure belt. That is from 30 degree north to 35 degree north and 30 degree south to 35 degree south. Next is the subpolar low pressure belt. It extends from 60 degree north to 65 degree north and 60 degree south to 65 degree south. The last one is the polar high pressure belt. That is from 85 degree north to 90 degree north and 85 degree south to 90 degree south. We'll see these in this pressure belts, this image. Here you can see the pressure belts and also the prevailing surface winds. So don't get confused with the surface winds, just focus on the pressure belts. So this is the equatorial low pressure belt, subtropical high pressure belt here, and then the subpolar low pressure belt, and here the high pressure belt, that is the polar high pressure belt, okay, in the northern hemisphere and in the southern hemisphere. Yes, you can see the equatorial low pressure belt alone. So for the better understanding. So here it extends from around 0 degree. This is the equator, okay, from 0 degree to 5 degree north, and this region extends from 0 degree to 5 degree south. So this entire region, this entire area is called as the equatorial low pressure belt. Now we'll see why it is called as a low pressure belt. As we all know, this equator, it receives the vertical rays of the sun. The level of insolation, that is the amount of solar energy received, will be high. So what happens when the sun's ray falls here, the area, it gets heated up, and what happens? The air gets heated. When the warm air rises, here a low pressure is created. This zone is also known as the doldrums. All over the equatorial line, the whole circle, what happens? The same thing will be happening. In the area of the low pressure, there will be little or no surface wind blow in this region. This region is also called as the intertropical convergence zone, that is ITCZ. Here the low pressure is created. This low pressure area will have the tendency to attract the air from the surrounding areas. So from the surrounding area, the air is moving towards the low pressure area. So the air is converging. It is coming from the surrounding area. The air is then carried up by the convection currents, and it causes severe thunderstorms in this region. So from there again it is getting attracted by the low pressure zone. So this will be the repeated one. So places in this zone, it receives a precipitation over 200 days of the year. Yes children, in this video we saw about the factors influencing the atmospheric pressure, and we also saw about the pressure belts of the world, and which we saw in detail about the equatorial low pressure belt. In the next video we will be seeing in detail about the remaining pressure belts. Thank you children.